Listen up, NFL fans. Are you ready? This is the podcast on all things NFL. The fantasy football players you should sit, ones you should start, guest speakers, game recaps, pre-game predictions, plus live call-ins from viewers, and so much more. Welcome to NFL Talk Live with your hosts, Reigning Ravens 1 and Alex, a.k.a. PurpleSwordfish.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another installment of NFL Talk Live. I am Reigning Ravens 1. This is my co-host, Alex, aka PurpleSwordfish. And this week, we are being joined live on air by our guest host. You guys saw the link below. He's filled out the link below. How easy was that? Not PurpleSwordfish, but how easy was that?
It was pretty easy. I just looked at the form, filled everything out, gave a little description, submitted it, and then I got your tweet saying I've been invited. So I appreciate you inviting me, to be a co-host on here for this week, man. I'm looking forward to it.
No problem. And they know who I am. They know who Alex is. Why don't you tell people who you are?
All right, so I go by the Opinionated Brother. I have a YouTube channel that matches my name, so just search Opinionated Brother on there. And you can follow me on Twitter at OpinionatedMJ.
Okay.
I do content that ranges from anywhere from talking about shows, but really right now I've been focusing on a lot of gameplay. So I've been going crazy on NBA 2K18 and Madden lately. So I also do poetry, so definitely hop over to my YouTube channel and check that out. But let's talk some football, man.
All right, let's talk some football. You weren't here when me and Alex were making our picks last week. Alex, a lot has changed between week 1 and 2, but if it's one constant, it's that I can only pick a maximum of 9 correct games right. I went 9-6 week 1. That being because there were only 15 games because I think it was the Dolphins and the Bucs that were not playing right because of the Hurricanes.
That's correct.
So I went 9-6. Had they played, I'd probably gone 9-7 like I did in week 2. Honestly, I felt really good about my picks. Just so I know, what was your overall for week 2? Your wins and losses?
Let's see here. I'm counting 11-5.
11-5? Oh man, killed it! I'll tell you
Somebody
what,
plays
man.
bets on that dude.
I will tell you what. There were some surprises in week 2. Some that I'm like, okay, I'm not too surprised by that. But Thursday night, I even tweeted at Alex on Thursday Night Football once the game was over. I'm like, guess what, Alex? You and I are both 0-2 for Thursday night. For whatever reason, Alex and I cannot pick correctly on Thursday nights. Isn't that true?
That's true, but I think this week we're both going to kill that streak.
I think so. Going through week 2, I'm kind of looking at it right now. Let me go ahead and show people. Here were my picks for week 2. Okay, the red obviously are the ones that I got wrong. I really, really, really felt good about the Vikings going into Pittsburgh, beating the Steelers. I did not know, though, Sam Bradford was that crucial of a loss for that team. What do you make of that game? Because I know, is that one of the games we went different directions on?
We did go different directions. I'm real high on the Steelers. I think they're a very good football team. Their biggest problem right now is getting Le'Veon Bell started. And that's a pretty good problem to have because I think he can. But the minute Casey Keenum is your starter, you're not winning a football game.
Let's see. So yeah, that was a huge surprise to me. I picked the Jaguars. I really, for whatever reason, I was totally bought into the hype train, the Jaguars hype train. For whatever reason, I'm like, okay, they're going to beat the Titans, and I got that wrong too. Was that a game we split on?
Yikes!
No, I bought into the Jaguars hype too.
Did you? Chargers and Dolphins had a really good one. Looks like a differential of about 2 points. Dolphins, that was week 2 was their actual week 1 game, which was odd. Same thing with your Buccaneers, right?
Yeah, they were well rested week 2.
They were. They looked
Thank goodness for that bye week in week 1.
I think I'm speaking for everyone, though, when I say the biggest surprise, and I do mean the biggest surprise of week 2, and actually up to this point so far, and we'll get into our week 3 talks too, is the Giants. I know Opinionated Bro, he's an Eagles fan. I know he has something to say about this, so I'm going to let him say it. But I think the Giants, I don't understand what's going on with them. How are they winless?
The Giants are who we thought they were. Like, I don't understand why people are juiced about the Giants when you got Eli Manning, Mr. Pick Six himself. Outside of Blake Bortles, this dude happens to be one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league. And yet again, people still put faith in Eli. And Eli's been an Eli. You see, you have Brandon Marshall, Odell Beckham, and that new tight end that they got, and you can't get more than one passing touchdown. He had 239 yards, 22 for 32. He was nickel and diming out there. Like, I have no confidence in the Giants whatsoever. My surprise, however, was that Cowboys-Broncos game. The Broncos seemed like they're for real. Trevor Siemian's out there throwing dots.
They did. They were firing on all pistons. I liked it. What did you think about that, Alex? What do you think about the Broncos week 2?
The Broncos look good. I mean, we'll talk about it later. I think they're doing everything right. I mean, Trevor Siemian is not a game manager anymore. He's thriving. And they've got the run game going. C.J. Anderson looks like the guy that we've always expected him to be. As far as the Giants, it's really disappointing. I think it needs to be said that I don't think it's on Eli Manning. I think it's on coaching, and I think it's on O-line. Because the O-line hasn't been able to open up lanes to run the football. So that puts more stress on the passing game. They're falling behind. They're having to pass the ball, and they've got an O-line that can't protect the quarterback. So it's just it's cause and effect, man. You know, you can't run the football. You have personnel that is indicative of a vertical passing game, but you can't protect enough. And then meanwhile, your defense, which is strong, is on the field way too much. So the Giants have some serious problems.
Tires them out.
I don't know if I was seeing a mirage or what it was. I thought it was a reality, but seeing Brandon Marshall go to the Giants, I thought that was for real. And he's not really getting that many targets. I think it's because that line is, getting compressed and attacked so hardly that Eli Manning only has but 2-3 seconds to throw. You can't find an open Brandon Marshall.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's my biggest surprise right now is seeing how bad the Giants are. And I think it all comes down to that offensive line. We'll go into it when we talk about week 3. Other than that, Packers and Falcons, I think that was probably the best game of the week.
Yes. It was definitely. Well, yeah, I'm going to say yeah. Yeah, I'm agree.
I mean, I'm a Ravens fan. I know Alex is a Bucs fan. We both demolished our Week 2 opponents, so congrats to us. Tap yourself on the shoulder. But as a Ravens and Buccaneers fan, and I guess Eagles fan aside, you have to look aside and be like, all right, what was the best game of the week? It's got to be the Packers and Falcons. Any disagreements there?
No, I agree. I
No.
totally agree, man. High scoring, definitely. Man, it went down to the wire with the Packers trying to make
it did.
Back.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are ready, we can go into Week 3 picks.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. Opening it off on Thursday Night Football, they are unveiling a new Thursday night. What do they call those? Color Rush? The new Color Rush jerseys?
Yep, Color Rush uniforms. Yep.
Yeah. So 49ers are going to be coming out with the all black, which are I don't think I like those jerseys. The ones that come out all black with the red lettering, I don't really like those. LA Rams coming out with a mustard yellow kind of look. Anyway, jerseys aside, it doesn't really matter much. We care about what's going on the field. The fact of the matter is, Jared Goff, this is his first time in his entire career, believe it or not. Jared Goff has the chance to win his first ever road win. And yes, this is on the road. Like I said, it's at San Fran. This is an important game, though, because guess who they play Week 4 on the road? Dallas. They need this win. They need this win. Aaron Donald and company, unfortunately, got manhandled last week against the Redskins. Todd Gurley looked okay, and honestly, so did Cooper Kupp. We don't know much about this Cooper Kupp guy because we don't see much. He's a rookie. But, man, when he gets the ball, he really shines. Here's an interesting stat. Brian Hoyer so far, throughout this first 2 weeks, he only has 229 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I don't like that, especially going up against that Rams defense. I'm taking the Rams. Alex?
I will be taking the Rams in this one. I think the 49ers are having a really hard time moving the football. In fact, if you take a look at it, they have the least yardage of any offensive unit other than the Bucs and the Dolphins right now in the NFL, and they only played one game. So Hoyer is not an NFL starter. He's not playing like one, and while their defense is stout, it's been difficult for them. As far as the Rams go, Gurley looked really good last week. Goff is being passable as an NFL starter, and the defense will need to improve against the run, but I think they can do it against the 49ers. So I've got the Rams, and I have them covering the spread as well.
Okay. What about you, MJ?
All right. I got the Rams as well. This is kind of a no-brainer pick. The 49ers have yet to score an offensive touchdown, I believe. And I want to, keep track of what's going on with Tremaine Johnson, cornerback from the Rams. That's definitely their best defensive player outside of Aaron Donald. And also – Reuben Foster being injured for the 49ers, that dude's a beast.
Yep,
and
he is.
I don't think he's playing for a while, so that 49ers defense definitely took a hit. But I feel like the Rams are just going to run the ball so much into where they can work that play action fake, and then definitely watch out for Tavon Austin to have a bounce back game.
Okay. So sounds like all three of us are picking the LA Rams to go 2-1, leaving the 49ers to be 0-3, winless so far through the first 3 weeks. Moving on to the next game, one that's near and dear to my heart. Honestly, I don't know if I'd be watching this if I wasn't a Ravens fan. 6:30 a.m. start time. Guys, I live in Las Vegas. I'm in West Coast time. I got to be up, and I like to get up way before early so I can catch the pregame. I'll probably be up 5:30 a.m. That's an hour before kickoff, watching the Ravens take on the Jaguars in London. This is going to be the battle of defenses. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've earned a new nickname. They call themselves the Saxonville Jaguars. That defensive front four is beastly. They eat up offensive lines. Speaking of offensive lines, the loss of Marshall Yanda does not help us out in the least. He's gone for the season, fractured ankle. It sucks, but the motto in the NFL is next man up. So we got to figure out how to negate that loss and make it seem so it's not so detrimental, even though it is. He's probably the best offensive lineman in the entire league. Leonard Fournette, though, for the Jaguars looked really good last week. He's an imposing force. They play very good on offense, or they play very good on defense, but okay, let's face it, they also play very good on offense. This Jacksonville Jaguars team, yeah, they're 1-1, but they're really good. I'm taking Baltimore, though, because our defense is really good. We've generated, I want to say, 8 turnovers in our last 2 games. They are after the ball, and I think it's going to be a battle of defenses. I got a low-scoring game. Ravens win it by just a couple points. I'm taking Ravens. What about you, Alex?
I agree with you. I don't think the Jaguars are playing great football right now. Week 2 showed that the Jaguars are not as good as I thought they might be. Bortles continues to look like he might be benched. He had a QBR of 10.4 in week 2. The only way the Jaguars will be competitive is if they get the run game going, which they didn't do in week 2. And the Ravens, they continue to look like a playoff team to me on the back of a strong defensive performance and multiple turnovers that were turned into scores in both week 1 and 2. I got the Ravens winning, and I have them covering the spread, even though it's going to be an ugly football game because they're playing in Wembley Stadium, and those historically have been ugly, sloppy football games because they're playing on a non-football playing surface.
Exactly. It's a field intended for soccer.
Correct.
Go ahead, MJ.
All right. I don't know how the Ravens fan in this podcast did not mention the fact that these dudes have allowed only 10 points through 2 weeks. 10. That defense is freaking beastly. And then on top of that, Terrell Suggs is not going to allow this run game to go off. I'm sorry, but I just don't see Leonard Fournette getting off this week. I feel like the Ravens are going to do business. They're going to run the ball more than they have in the first 2 weeks. Danny Woodhead being out definitely hurt them. I had him on my fantasy team, and him catching balls out of the backfield was doing work. But I feel like the Ravens are going to take this. They're going to control the clock. Blake Bortles is going to he's going to be Blake Bortles, the pass. He's going to throw a couple picks in this game. You might see some sacks. Jacksonville Jaguars, I wasn't buying the hype. I thought they just went up against a team that wasn't ready to play week 1. And last week they allowed 37 points. So
yes.
That Saxonville defense, I'm not buying. So
you're not buying it. Okay.
Let's give the Ravens the victory, and I think they actually score probably 21 to 24 points in this game, and I see Jacksonville scoring too.
So we're all on the Rams and we're all on the Ravens. All right. By the way, quick reminder, if you guys want to join in on the podcast, you guys know sometimes I'll put this up on a screen where it says use Discord to call in, link below. The link is actually below, and you get into my Discord. There's going to be a lobby called NTL Show Call-Ins. You wait in there at the end of the podcast. Towards the end, we'll start pulling people in one by one. Moving on to Week 3, we've got the 1-1 Houston Texans taking on the 1-1 Patriots. Obviously, Patriots only lost so far coming on Thursday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot to say about this game. Yes, their records are identical. They're both 1-1, but it's actually not equal at all. If New England comes out playing the way they did against New Orleans last week, it's over. And there's that nothing against the Texans front four. It's just Tom Brady has so much time to throw. And another fun stat: Bill Belichick has never ever, his entire long career, never ever lost to a rookie quarterback, and I think he's going to keep that up. It hurts me to say, but I'm taking the Patriots. What about you, Alex?
So Patriots looked really good week 2 against a respectable Saints team, and while the Texans eked out a close win over an unbelievably ineffective Bengals team, and that was all thanks to their defense. I still am not sold on Deshaun Watson as a starting NFL quarterback at this point in his career. That offense is struggling mightily to move the football, whereas the Patriots were moving up the field, up and down the field at will, basically. So I have the Patriots winning this one easily, and I think they're going to make life difficult for Deshaun Watson. They're going to throw a lot of looks at him that he hasn't seen before, and it could be pretty problematic. This one could get out of hand in a hurry, but I have the Patriots winning this one.
You got the Patriots. Oh, man. Speaking of identical so far. All right, what about you, MJ?
All right, I'm going to go against y'all. If the Patriots would have lost last week, I would have definitely said go Patriots on this one because Belichick doesn't usually lose back-to-back games. But I'm thinking the Texans front line, I'm thinking they get at the quarterback and definitely push Brady to the limits. I believe Deshaun Watson is going to be a great quarterback in this league. And I'm doing this because I feel like if the Texans can get this running game established with Lamar Miller, they can control up so much clock because of their run game. And I'm not sure that Gronk plays this week. If Gronk doesn't play or if he's less than 100%, I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to have the mismatches they want. Brandon Cooks is going to be shut down, and I don't know what's going on with Brandon Cooks. The dude doesn't have a touchdown this game, and his highest fantasy value has been 8 points. So I'm thinking that they're going to get no run game going against that front four, and the corners for the Texans are going to do work. I'm going low scoring game. Texans win, probably 17-13.
70-13. Okay, I mean, that's still a 17-13. That's a 4-point differential. I mean, obviously, with that score, you can obviously say it could go either way. But the fact you're picking the Texans going against the grain, I respect you for that. It's the first pick against the grain so far on this Week 3 podcast. I feel like it's about to change, though, with this next game. New York Giants, the winless 0-2 New York Giants, facing up against the 1-1 Philadelphia Eagles. This is one of those games, like I said, it's a huge surprise. The Giants, if you ask me, never in a million years would I have said, oh yeah, they're going to start the season winless. The Giants' offense has been struggling. Eli Manning is running for his life. if he can get some time to throw, he's got weapons. He's got weapons. Speaking of weapons, though, so does Carson Wentz. An interesting matchup here is Alshon Jeffrey versus Janoris Jenkins. Those guys are two standouts on the field. And I look to see the banter and the I'm sure there's going to be at least a fight or two between them. I thought it was cool, though. Despite the Giants being 0-2 and playing terrible, it was cool to see Ben McAdoo, the Giants head coach, at halftime call out the quarterback, namely his quarterback, Eli Manning. He said he's just not doing his job, and he's got to step up and be the leader that the team needs. I'm going to say, and I don't mean to pander to anyone, I know we got a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan on our podcast, that in being opinionated MJ. I never pander to anyone. Heck, week 1, I even picked against the Ravens. My honest-to-God pick here in this game, who am I kidding? Eagles are going to win at home. Giants go 0-3. What about you, Alex?
Well, I said about all I have to say about the Giants earlier. They have a lot of problems, and I think that we're just a millisecond away from an Odell Beckham meltdown on the sideline that just throws everything into an even bigger tailspin. But
keep him away from the kicker's nest.
I mean, yeah. Who's going to take out this time? The Gatorade tank? I don't know. Anyway, the Eagles have been well-rounded and competitive this year. They kept it really close last week against a very good Chiefs team. And Carson Wentz continues to impress me week in, week out. Said it before, I'll say it again. They redrafted 2 years ago. He is absolutely the number 1 overall pick. It's going to be a close game because it's a divisional game, but I do have the Eagles winning at home.
Okay.
And the Giants are who we thought they were and will continue being who we know they are. So Carson Wentz, through 2 weeks, 51 for 85, 640 yards and 4 TDs. He's about to light up the skies. I think he throws 4 TDs in this game alone. We have one of the best defensive lines in the league going up against one of the worst offensive lines in the league. I say it's going to be a sack fest. We might even have a fumble return for a touchdown. Who knows? I just know we're going out there. We're going to get buckets. We're going to dog. You're going to see some nice celebrations. I'm actually looking forward to what we're going to do when we score touchdowns more than I'm looking forward to a competitive game from the Giants.
So, obviously, a very unbiased opinion there coming from an Eagles fan. Okay,
so we're gonna put in work, and I mean the stats speak for themselves. We've seen what the Giants have been doing lately, and the Eagles, outside of that fourth quarter, we gave it to the Chiefs, man. I definitely want to say to all my Chiefs fans out there that I work with, and my wife at home who's a Chiefs fan that I had to be trolled by all day Sunday. Good job on the Chiefs beating my Eagles, man. That was definitely a good game to watch, low scoring until the fourth quarter, and looking forward to this Eagles-Giants game.
Alrighty. So, next game. This is definitely, I don't care what anyone says, okay? You're allowed to have an opinion about anything except this. The best game of week 3. The 0-2 Cleveland Browns. The 0-2 Cleveland Browns taking on the 0-2 Indianapolis Colts. There really are no winners here. When that clock hits 0-0-0-0, there are no winners, despite the final outcome. Okay, but on a realistic note, though, yeah, they're both winless teams. Deshaun Kaiser's decisiveness is awful. He's got, last week, or actually so far this year, if you combine his passer rating, he's got a 55.6 QBR, one of the worst in the league. That also comes down to offensive line. We've talked so much about the trenches, the battles in the trenches. That Cleveland offensive line allowed 10 sacks in 2 games. That's ridiculous. Hits like that start to wear on you. You know, that quarterback can't take it much longer. Defensively, though, I don't know if they're going to have that pressure to go through Cleveland this week. Indianapolis Colts, they got a 29th overall ranked defense. They're not aggressive at all. They will sit back on their heels, and I think maybe that's what Cleveland needs. Cleveland needs to face a team like the Indianapolis Colts that doesn't blitz much. They'll be able to get that ground game going. They'll be able to have more decisiveness. DeShone Kizer's going to have more time to be decisive. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns to play away in this one and get a away victory, making them 1-2. What do you think, Alex?
Well, Vegas is pretty much split on this one. They don't know how to pick this one. And there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is one of these teams has to win. The bad news is one of them's going for 0-3. Now, Jacoby Brissett looked really good last week. Actually pretty impressive. Huge upgrade over Scott Tolzien. But it's still impossible to pick the Colts without Andrew Luck. QB play is their biggest weakness. This was going to be a good game for DeShone Kizer to get some confidence against a weak Colts defense. And the Browns' young defense should be in for a good game as well. I have the Browns winning as long as DeShone Kizer does not leave early like he did last week. But, I mean, it's forgivable. If I turn the ball over 4 times, I'd get a migraine too. But I have the Browns winning.
All right, I'm going with the Browns, and I want to explain something here. A lot of people are hard on the Browns. I don't know of a rookie quarterback who's faced a tougher opening schedule than DeShone Kizer. He had to play 2 division games in the first 2 weeks he started.
Fair point.
And first off, the first
That's a fair
game,
point.
He didn't even start. He came in and replaced the starter. So, or did he start? Yeah, he did start. Never mind, He started. I'm thinking of Deshaun Watson. But he came in and played a Steelers defense that is much improved. He played Ravens defense that might be the top defense in the league outside of Seattle. That is tough for any rookie.
I think though, and not to be a homer or anything on this one, but I think statistically, Baltimore is so far in his first 2 weeks a better defense than Seattle. But continue.
Yeah. But they had an easier schedule to start off. You get to go
to
the
Bengals
true. And the Browns.
That is true.
So
that is true.
Let's facts here. But the Browns, DeShone Kizer definitely had a tough first 2 games, and I feel bad for him, but I think he bounces back this week and shows why he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns. And I do also feel sorry for him. He's losing his starting receiver, Corey Coleman, to a broken hand. Who does he have to throw to? I don't know. I feel like he runs a lot and makes the best of what he's got. He wins.
Okay. So you're taking the Browns?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We got half the games covered. Still have to go. We've got the 1-0 Miami Dolphins. This is a team that was affected by the Hurricanes. That's why their Week 1 game against the Bucs got canceled or postponed to Week 11. Shout out to the Week 1 bye. The 1-0 Miami Dolphins taking on the 0-2 Jets. I don't know if there's much to say about this, honestly. The Jets are a wise man named PurpleSwordfish once said, this is a team that's actively tanking, and I believe it. Every week that I'm watching these guys play, I believe it more and more. That offense is bad, the defense is worse. Jets lost a 25-point defeat at Oakland last week. Speaking on the Dolphin side of things, it was only 1 game, so the sample size is small. But Jay Cutler looked all right. He looked decent last week. They played the Chargers. It was only a 2-point victory, but a win's a win. And I think that the Dolphins are going to take that energy into the Jets Stadium and actually win. They're going to be 2-0 at the end of this one. I'm taking the Dolphins. What about you, Alex?
Well, the Dolphins looked really good in their win over the Chargers. They're running an offense that is suited to Jay Cutler's strengths, and also it kind of protects him a little bit. So right now, Cutler is showing that he can be a capable fill-in for Ryan Tannehill, who I think is largely underrated as a quarterback. But nevertheless, Cutler's getting the job done. As far as the New York Tanks, I mean, what can you say? I mean, week over week, it's worse and worse. And even though they got a good performance from McCown last week, I just don't see that being sustainable. McCown is probably a sneaky good fantasy football play. He'll probably put up some points in garbage time. But I have the Dolphins winning this one. The Tanks are not an NFL football team right now.
How long before you start calling them the Jets again and not the Tanks?
5 years.
Wow. 4 games. All
right, what about you, MJ?
I'm riding the Dolphins too. I think this is probably the best offense Jay Cutler's had outside of when he had Greg Olsen, Brandon Marshall, and a young Matt Forte.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got Jay Ajayi, Devontae Parker. He's got a plethora of weapons in his disposal where he doesn't have to do much with the ball, and it allows him not to Jay Cutler games, because we know Jay Cutler in the past
is that a verb?
Been the Blake Bortles. Hey, it might be. I might start that, but we know Jay Cutler has been Blake Bortles, what Blake Bortles is now. Let's not forget he is who he is. But with Jay Ajayi run the ball like he is, and with Devontae Parker and all them other dudes they got on the squad catching balls like they do, they don't drop balls. It's making an easy day for Jay Cutler against the Jets. Dolphins win easily.
Okay.
And don't forget Ndamukong Suh.
Ndamukong Suh. Okay. All right. Moving on to a game that I know is very near and dear to Alex's heart. The 1-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, it's one of those teams that's affected by that Hurricane Week 1. Again, shout out to that Week 1 bye. Thanks, NFL. Thanks, Mother Nature. Taking on the 1-1 Minnesota Vikings. What do you call it? I don't know about their quarterback, Sam Bradford. I don't know if he's in or out. But to be honest, he's questionable. But here's my thing: I don't think it really matters much. Case Keenum can come in and back up. Whether it's Case Keenum or Sam Bradford, I don't think it matters much. Tampa Bay really, in my opinion, seeing how they played the first 2 weeks, they really found something special on defense. Whatever it is, their guys are clicking so well. And again, I'm not pandering to Alex because he's a Bucs fan. These are just the facts. I speak just the facts. They found something very special on defense. Having Ward playing safety out there, they got the one-year man Vernon Hargraves playing tremendous at corner, and the young pass rusher Noah Spence. He got a tremendous sack last week. I like him. I really like the way that defense is performing. And to be honest, that Vikings O-line is not looking great. You're going to see at the very minimum, 2 turnovers that's going to be generated by the Tampa Bay defense. I'm taking the Buccaneers in this one, 2-0 at the end of this one. What about you, Alex?
So week 2, Bucs look great coming off a week 1 bye. Well rested. Against the Bears team that is the other team I think is actively tanking in the NFL this season. The offense was moving up and down the field. Winston took care of the football. That's a big sticking point for the Bucs this year. When the Bucs don't turn the football over on offense, they do significantly well by comparison to when they do. Winston has struggled with turnovers. That's been his biggest thing. Not just the interceptions, but also the fumbles. Linebacker core looked great in a near shutout. As far as the Vikings go, if Bradford plays, I think this is a close game. I still have the Bucs. If Bradford doesn't play, I think the Bucs defense will have a field day against the man, the myth, the legend, Casey Keenum. The Vikings defense has been respectable, but it's been a far cry from the dominant unit of a few years ago. So I have the Bucs in this one, regardless of who's playing at quarterback.
Okay. Hey, by the way, MJ, before you jump in, Alex, your mic is producing some of that weird static again. I'm not sure what that is.
I heard it too.
Man.
You heard it too?
1 minute.
Okay. All right. While he's doing that, MJ, what do you think about this game? Buccaneers at Vikings. Who do you have?
I got the Bucs in this one, and I also want to give a quick correction. When you guys search my YouTube channel, it's Brother BRUTHA. Try to be original, but anyway,
Okay.
The Buccaneers, they need to get my man Deshaun Jackson the ball. So many people sleep on Deshaun Jackson. That dude is still who he always has been. He's a burner. He's one of the fastest dudes in the league. He runs great routes, and once Jameis Winston starts getting him the ball more, that offense is going to fly. And then Doug Martin comes back week 5. This is going to be one of the best offenses in the league. And I wonder if Doug Martin's coming back week 5, even though they had a bye week 1. So I don't know how they're going to work that, whether he's suspended 4 active games or whether he's suspended 4 weeks. So we'll definitely be interested in keeping updated on when Doug Martin is coming back for all you fantasy football players. But this is a good offense. They got a decent defense, and they're going up against the Vikings, who, without Sam Bradford, are a shell of themselves. And I pick Bucs.
You got the Bucs. Okay. All right, moving on to the next game. We got the 2-0 Denver Broncos versus the 1-1 Buffalo Bills. Another, I want to say, garbage team. Sorry if you're a Buffalo Bills fan out there. Yeah, your team, in my opinion, is garbage. They lack any sort of resemblance of any kind of playmaker on that offense. However, it'll be interesting to see if Buffalo regains their identity as a rush-first team. Last year, they were number 1 in the league at rushing the ball. On the other hand, the run-stop defense for Denver has been working, but has not been working well. It's been a glaring weakness for them. We'll see if they can shore it up this week against the 1-1 Buffalo Bills, who, for whatever reason, decides not to run the ball that many times. So defense aside, Trevor Siemian, he's looking like he's firing on all cylinders. I'm taking Trevor Siemian to go on the road, cross country, and play this game at Buffalo and get the win. I know it seems like I'm picking a lot of away teams this week so far, but there's a method to my madness. I'm taking the Denver Broncos. What do you think, Alex?
Am I coming in clear?
No, you're not, but that's okay. We'll power through.
Okay.
We'll power through.
Okay, I'll work on something else then. I have the Broncos this week. C.J. Anderson looks like he's back and ready to do what we've always expected him to do. Trevor Siemian is thriving. The Bucs are struggling to move the football, and defenses are able to just kind of key in on Shady McCoy and Tyrod Taylor. So I have the Broncos winning here. It's going to be close, but I have them winning.
Okay. And by the way, Alex, try to unplug your mic and plug it back in. Sometimes that alleviates some of that static.
Will do.
All right, what about you, MJ? What do you think? Broncos, Bills. Who do you have?
I really like this Broncos team, man. But I'm going to go off kilter, man. The Broncos got to lose sometime, and I don't think they run the table. I think they get an early loss in the season in order to, kind of humble themselves and, lower the hype a little bit and get themselves back on track. I really like this Broncos team. That head coach is doing an amazing job. Shout out to the black head coaches. But the Buffalo Bills, they still have a good team. Like, I know they traded away their best cornerback to, my team in Darby, Ronald Darby. Shout out to Ronald Darby. But get well soon. But the Bills with LaShawn McCoy, I actually think he's going to have a great game this week, even though he's got to go through the man, Von Miller. Man, that dude is a beast. But they got to lose sometimes. I think the Broncos take a loss here, regroup, and end up making this one of the most competitive divisions in football in that AFC West.
Okay. You got the Broncos too. So we're all on the Broncos.
I got the Bills.
You got the Bills. That's right. You got the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going.
You're going against the grain here a little bit.
Yes,
you're going against the grain a little bit. We are going on to the 0-2 New Orleans Saints, who actually are recovering from taking quite a drubbing last week against the against the New England Patriots, and they're going up against a 2-0, a winless versus an undefeated team, the 2-0 Panthers. A lot of keys here. Saints defense has got to be one of the worst in the league. They gave up over 500 yards allowed in their last 2 games, and week 16, 15, and 14 of last year. That makes 5 consecutive games for them where they allowed over 500 yards as a defense. That's disgusting. That defense is so trash that it made Sam Bradford look like a good quarterback last week, and I'll leave it at that. Cam Newton, on the other side, he lost his top target in Greg Olsen. They say the tight end is the safety blanket of the quarterback. It's no more truer for the Panthers. Cam Newton loves throwing it to Greg Olsen, and now Greg Olsen is out, 6 to 8 weeks? Something like that. I look to see, especially against this trash defense, I look to see Jonathan Stewart and Christian McCaffrey really shine. They're going to go up against that defense. They're going to pick up some serious yards on the ground. I'm going with the Carolina Panthers, going undefeated, giving the Saints their 3rd consecutive loss. Alex? We may have lost Alex.
No, I'm still here. Am I?
Okay.
It's not way better.
Okay. He must have reset something.
Go ahead. So it's a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having issues with the Discord app right now. But anyway, sorry about that, guys. I saw somebody in the comments say that my mic sounds like it's a $15.99 mic from Walmart. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, pal, this was not a $15.99 mic. Go check out my YouTube channel and you can see it's quality. Anyway,
by the way, shameless plug. Alex's channel links are all down in the description. If you want to follow him on Twitter, check out his YouTube channel.
Yeah, just saying PurpleSwordfish.com. Go check it out. Anyway, Panthers, Saints. So I've got, if Cam Newton plays this game, the Panthers win, no doubt. The Panthers offense has struggled immensely, but facing a soft New Orleans defense might be a good confidence boost. The Carolina defense has been solid enough this year to convince me that they'll slow the Saints down enough to give the offense a chance to outscore New Orleans. Panthers are going to win this one in what should be an exciting offensive showcase.
Okay, so you got the Panthers winning this one. What about you, MJ?
All right, I got the Panthers winning, but let me tell you a little something about Drew Brees. He's thrown 82 passes
Here we go.
so far. 82 passes. I don't understand how an offense in this league gets away with throwing 82 passes in 2 weeks. But guess what? I'm starting almost everybody that you could possibly start on an offense in this game. I'm starting Michael Thomas. I'm starting Christian McCaffrey. I'm starting Kelvin Benjamin has a great game this week. I'm starting everyone because it's going to be a blowout. It might be 30 points per team. Everybody, the ball is going to be thrown a million times in this game. I don't think either team runs much. And then the Saints are going to lose this one, and you're going to see Sean Payton on the hot seat. You're going to have a bunch of people asking questions about what are you going to do with Adrian Peterson? You didn't pay him to come over here and get 10 carries a game. Like
I think it was 7. It was 7 carries last week, I think.
Exactly. How ridiculous is that? Like,
it was bad.
And Michael Thomas has not had a touchdown yet from the Saints. I figure he has 2 touchdowns this game, and it's going to be a high-scoring game. But the Panthers are going to pull it out. Cam Newton was getting off a lot of rust.
He really was.
2 games.
He really was. But he looks like he's back to full form now.
Well, I don't know about that because last week the Panthers offense put up 9 points. So I'm still not 100% on that. I just figure they're seeing what they want to do with Christian McCaffrey. Let him be the primary out of the field back to catch balls, and let him use some of his punt returning, kick returning skills on getting screens and running them to the house. I think that's what they need to use him for, and let Jonathan Stewart run the ball and pound big time down low. I figure this will be a high-scoring game with the Panthers pulling out.
Okay. All right. We got the 2-0 Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the 0-2 Chicago Bears. Going into Chicago, taking on the 0-2 Chicago Bears. I don't know what to say about this Bears team, honestly. Jordan Howard last year looks like a completely different person than he is this year. Jordan Howard was the number 2 running back last year. This past week, 7 yards on 9 touches versus Tampa Bay. I know Alex is really loving those stats. That speaks a tremendous amount about that Buccaneers defense, but we're talking about the Bears here. Jordan Howard only got 7 rushes on 9 touches. That's nothing. The Bears' offensive line is so injury-riddled, and to be fair, so it's his wide receivers. They got Victor Cruz thinking he was going to be the guy that's going to be there, come in and be their number 1 guy, and what happened? He's gone.
They cut him.
They cut him, yeah. And we'll look at White. He's gone. You know, he made a brief cameo and disappeared all of a sudden.
Mr. I stay injured.
I think in order for the Bears to find a way to survive in this game at all against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need to have some kind of success running the ball because they need to take the pressure off of Glennon. They found out the hard way last week. When you put the pressure on Glennon, bad things happen. And this week, they really have to hunker down on that because the Steelers' defense is very, very good at getting to the quarterback and wrapping up. We've seen them do it even against some of the league's best offensive lines. The Steelers' defense is no joke, and that's coming from a Ravens fan. Here's a fun stat, though, if you like fun stats. Le'Veon Bell this year only averages 3.2 rushes, or 3.2 yards per carry. You know how many yards the Bears defense gives up? 3.2 yards on average per carry to running back. So I think Le'Veon Bell, he's going to have another test this week. They're the 0-2 Chicago Bears, but Le'Veon Bell, he's going to have to find something going. He's still, in my mind, one of the best running backs in the league, but he just doesn't look it right now. I'm going to go with the Steelers going into Chicago, getting this win. What about you, Alex?
Well, the Bears didn't look very good. I'm sorry, I called them the Chicago Despairs did not look very good.
Another zinger nickname. Nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They're actively tanking, and it showed last week. They can't move the ball on offense. Mike Glennon is exactly what he showed himself to be in Tampa, which is it's helter-skelter, man. You know, it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, whatever analogy you want to use. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. Steelers are on the way to the playoffs. As I said earlier, their biggest problem, put that in air quotes, is getting Le'Veon Bell more involved, which is a good problem to have. So I have the Steelers coasting to an easy win here. Okay.
All right, what about you, MJ?
All right, I think the Steelers are going to win this too, but let me give a shout-out to Mike Glennon. He's not doing that bad. People are hard on him so far this year.
That's not different than what I said earlier, though. I know he's not doing bad, but when they put all the pressure on him to win the game, he's going to do bad. They rarely run the ball in Chicago anymore. That's what I'm saying.
They can't because everybody crowds the box because you got no wide receivers, not one.
Exactly.
You don't have a wide receiver. You don't have a tight end. This dude, Cohen, the running back, might be leading their team in catches. Like, that little dude is a beast. And they almost came back against the Atlanta Falcons week 1. So they had to go up against the Falcons week 1, who puts up points and bunches. And then they had to go up last week. Didn't they play Tampa Bay?
Last week? Yeah, they played Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they played the Bucs last week, which is another, you got to throw the ball the whole second half because they put up points against you in the first half. So, and now they go up against the Steelers, man. I feel sorry for Mike Glennon. He had a tough schedule to start off his career, but he's doing, I say, the best job you can do given the weapons. Jordan Howard's not getting much run because they're crowding the box and they're preventing him from running. But the Steelers are going to win this. James Harrison is a beast. I don't know if T.J. Watt plays. He is dealing with a groin injury.
I think – I was going to say, I think he's questionable for this game.
Yeah, we got to look at that. That dude's been playing good, little brother J.J. Watt. So we will see. But I think the Steelers win. They get Le'Veon Bell more involved because that week 1, I think they were trying to teach him a lesson on his holdout, trying to get more money, and they only ran him 9 times. But
yeah, it certainly felt like they were making an example out of him. I agree with you.
They were. Yeah. You'll see a 20-plus carry game from Le'Veon Bell this game. And then I actually think Antonio Brown gets his first touchdown this game as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, if Antonio Brown finds one game to shine, it's going to be against this Bears secondary. What were you going to say, Alex?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just laughing because the way Opinionated Brother puts it, like Mike Glennon is the fall guy for a tank job. Like it's like a mob deal. Like we're gonna make Mike Glennon the fall guy. Everybody's gonna blame him.
Well, no, I'm saying I don't blame him. I'm saying he's doing the best with what he's got.
Exactly. You can only do so much with the tools you have. He doesn't have much.
He's not set up for success. I mean, it's rough.
Exactly. Hey, dude, PurpleSwordfish knows more about Mike Glennon than probably any of us. Shout out to the Bucs. Moving on to the next game. This game, in my opinion, is probably the best game. I know I trolled you guys earlier saying that the Colts and Browns game was going to be the best one. Records aside, these two teams are undefeated. But records aside, I think this is going to be one of the best games this week. In fact, actually, it's the best game. Atlanta Falcons taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Lions coming off of, obviously, a big Monday night victory against the Giants. Vic Beasley on the Falcons is out, I believe, 1 month. Is it 3 to 4 weeks, something like that? But even with him out, the Falcons have proven that they can generate a tremendous pass rush. That edge rush is second to none. I think the Falcons are going to win this one and cement their status as one of the most dominant teams in the NFC. I'm taking the Falcons.
Yeah, I got to say, Falcons are impressing me this year. Usually a Super Bowl loser struggles to rebound the following year. There's no hangover here. The Falcons are firing on all cylinders. And meanwhile, the Lions are having a great year for themselves. And I think they're going to be competitive here. but I think they come up just a bit short this week. This was a tough one for me to pick, and I think this is going to be the most entertaining game of the week. So, yeah, I got the Falcons in a close one, but this is going to be a fun one to watch.
It will. It will. What about you, MJ?
Well, I think a lot of people are falling into the Lions trap. They do this very frequently. They do it very frequently. But last week they had a bye week versus the Giants, and then week 1 they went against a Cardinals team that they should have lost to, but the Cardinals just imploded with a terrible performance by none other than, Carson Palmer. So, and with David Johnson being injured, they just coasted away with that victory. I actually don't think they played a really capable team yet, and you won't see that versus these Falcons. My boy Julio, we share the same last name of Jones, and I feel like he hits the end zone this week. He has 9 catches and 174 yards through 2 weeks. Devontae Freeman, 3 TDs, 31 carries, 121 yards, and Matt Ryan is going to air it out against these Lions. Outside of Darius Slay, I'm not fearful of anything the Lions are bringing on defense, and Amir Abdullah can't get a legitimate running game going with him and Theo Riddick. I just feel like the Falcons are just going to be too much for him, and it's going to force Matthew Stafford to throw, 40, 50 times this game, and he's going to throw picks.
Okay. Okay. Speaking of not buying into the hype, I'm not buying into the hype of the Seattle Seahawks, which are going up against the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee this week. They're both 1-1 teams. But Seattle, we talked previously on this podcast, the quality of wins and losses. Seattle's quality last week was not good. I'm not happy with it.
Nope.
I'll be interested to see what the running back rotation will be like for Tennessee. DeMarco Murray, when he's healthy. DeMarco Murray, when he's healthy, he's a very, very good running back. Will Tennessee be able to run on Seattle? We'll see. Like I said, quality was not good. Seattle, on the ground, they got pounded last week by the 49ers. Carlos Hyde got 124 yards on 15 touches and only managed to beat San Fran by 3 points. I think they got a bigger test this week, and I don't think it's going to be a 3-point loss or a 3-point win. I'm going to say let's go the other way, make it like a 4 or 7 point loss. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans winning at home.
Well, I agree with you with the Seahawks. They have the same warts that we've been seeing, and it's offensive line, the receiving core, and the defense hasn't been overwhelmingly good.
Right.
However, I do think they are a little bit better than their 1-1 record would suggest. They did hang with a very good Packers team, and they did look pretty decent last week. The Titans, on the other hand, I look at them and I go, well, DeMarco Murray hasn't really shown us anything. Derrick Henry looks promising, but last time I checked, both of those backs were questionable going into this week's contest. So, plus the Titans have been hit or miss week to week for me.
They have.
So I got the Seahawks in a close one.
They're one of the more. They're one of the more hot and cold teams in the league. I totally agree with you. So you're going with the Seahawks.
Going with the Seahawks. This was a tough one to pick.
It is. It's very difficult.
Right. I have a stipulation on my pick. Derrick Henry's going to play this game, no doubt. If Derrick Henry is the starting running back, the Titans win. That dude is going to be one of the best running backs in this league. And he took a year off last year, but every time he touches, because of DeMarco Murray being so successful, but every time he touches the ball, he gets money. What's crazy is he's the best backup running back in the league and could be the best running back in the league with the starting job. So I'm actually rooting for DeMarco Murray to sit out and let Derrick Henry shine. If he shines in this game and gets the starting job, the Titans win. If he does not, Chris Carson on Seattle's side balls out because that dude is a beast as well. I figure if he gets 20-plus touches, the dude has 100-plus rushing yards. And then Seattle's defense does the rest. Without if everything aligns the way I'm saying it, if Derrick Henry starts, Titans win. If Derrick Henry doesn't start, Chris Carson balls out and the Seahawks win. That's my pick.
Okay. Sounds good. Moving on, we got a few more games here. These are going to be going into the more primetime games. This one, the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the 1-1 Green Bay Packers. Cincinnati obviously being winless at this point. They're going into Green Bay. Cincinnati, if we learned one thing watching the first 2 weeks watching Cincinnati play, is that they need to get A.J. Green more involved. Interesting statistic here is that when A.J. Green gets 100 yards or more receiving in any game, statistically, I believe it's 95%. It's something ridiculous statistic. They win the game. The Bengals win when A.J. Green has at least 100 yards receiving. Green Bay, on the other hand, they need to work on their pass protection. In 2 weeks, they have now given up 7 sacks, which is an inordinate amount to see one of the more elite quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers, seeing him go down that many times. That's going to wear on you as a quarterback, not only for one game, but moving on to the next game and the next game. That's going to hurt your body, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers isn't feeling great, taking 7 sacks. And some of them he actually got sandwiched and actually looked like it really hurt. Talking about bone-crunching tackles here. For Green Bay, to me, losing at Atlanta last week was not a big shocker. You know what I mean? Like, Atlanta's a good team. That game could have gone either way. I'm not shocked by Green Bay going into Atlanta last week and losing. What really would shock me is if the Bengals are able to come to Green Bay and the Green Bay Packers lose at home. That's even more of a shocker. With that being said, Green Bay is my pick to win.
Yeah, I can't agree more with everything you said. Both of these teams are struggling with pass protection. Andy Dalton, I don't know what's going on. It's like a totally different quarterback.
Yeah.
I thought it might be a one-game anomaly after week 1. Week 2 didn't show me anything. I know that Houston D is good, but, usually a good quarterback will rise up, still put up a decent stat line. It was ugly. And, there's frustration going on. They just fired their offensive coordinator, promoted a guy from within.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that it's kind of like the Lions a couple of years ago where they promoted Jim Bob Cooter to offensive coordinator after firing. I forget who their offensive coordinator was, but they fired somebody, promoted Cooter, and everything kind of took off from there. So I hope the Bengals get that effect, but I still think they're a team in disarray, whereas the Packers are like laser focused on the playoffs, and I got them taking this one at home.
Okay. What about you, MJ?
Being the opinionated brother that I am a man of many words, but this is going to take very few words. Packers destroy the Bengals. Andy Dalton is always who I knew him to be, that guy who got me 1 fantasy point and cost me a championship. So I am not on the Andy Dalton train. I can't wait for him to be fired, demoted, and let somebody else be quarterback for the Bengals, man. You've had your time. Let's go. Packers win. Easy.
Okay. We got our another primetime game here. We got the Kansas City Chiefs, the 2-0 undefeated Kansas City Chiefs facing the winless LA Chargers, which, by the way, I still have to correct myself from time to time from not saying San Diego Chargers, saying LA Chargers. This doesn't come naturally for me for whatever reason. Kansas City versus the Chargers. This is a rivalry game. You guys know both these two teams ramp it up anytime they play each other. Chris Jones from the Chiefs. This defensive end, he's an absolute animal of a player. Last week he got a hat trick. He got 3 sacks against the Eagles. Sorry, opinionated brother, but I had to put that stat out there. I know you're a big Eagles fan, but this dude is an animal. He is an animal. And even when he's not making plays, getting sacks on the stat sheet or anything, he's being a very disruptive force. You got to account for that dude. I think him and also Melvin Gordon for the Chargers. Melvin Gordon, 80 receiving yards and 67 rushing yards. This dude got more yards off a little dink and dunk screen plays than actual handoff running plays. That's an issue. When you as a running back have more yards receiving than actual running, that can be problematic. And I'm one to believe, I'm old school in this sense. You have to run to be able to set up the pass. And the Chargers, their bread and butter right now is passing. That's not going to work. The Chiefs, I'm sure, are looking at that at the scouting report and all that. They're going to shut it down. I'm taking the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs this year. Alex Smith, it should be called Alex Smith, How Do You Like Me Now? Because he's really killing it this year. I mean, he hasn't turned the ball over. He's getting the ball to the weapons on the outside of the football field, something that we really haven't seen from Alex Smith in the past. But he's surrounded with all these great weapons, and that offense is just firing all cylinders. Kareem Hunt has me going, Jamal Charles who? Like, who's Jamal Charles?
Right.
Yeah,
we forgot about him.
It's crazy. Kareem Hunt is having a historical rookie season.
Oh, yeah.
Tremendous defense. Chris Jones had a great week last week. I mean, what more can you say about the Chiefs? The Chargers, I really like them. They're a good football team, but I just do not see them winning this one. And it's a shame because they're going to go to 0-3 in large part due to their kicker. They have to get rid of that rookie kicker. He's
not good.
Them.
Yeah,
Roberto Aguayo.
Is he from like South Korea or something like that, or China? I forgot what.
Yeah.
I cannot pronounce his name for the life of me, but he came into the States just to play football, from what I understand.
Well, I don't know what he was kicking overseas, but it definitely wasn't a football because he can't kick it here, and I'm surprised that they're keeping him. You know, the Bucs went through this last year with Roberto Aguayo. Yep. The Cardinals did with Catanzaro to a lesser extent. I'm surprised they're sticking with him, but it's cost them at least one game, in my opinion. So, but yeah, Chiefs all the way. Look like one of the best teams in the NFL right now.
Okay. What about you, MJ?
The Chiefs should be 1-1. I don't care what anybody says. They should be 1-1. But they're not. They're
again, as an unbiased Eagles fan, right?
Yes, definitely. But I told everybody once Spencer Ware got hurt, I told everybody watch out for Kareem Hunt. That dude's a monster. Like, he is a beast. He had a fumble on his very first carry, and since then he has 29 carries, 229 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You call it whatever you want to call it. I'm calling that dude a beast. He's making Alex Smith look like I don't know, man. That quarterback's out of his mind right now. He's taking what the offense gives him, and he's living off of his defense and his run game, which he hasn't been able to do in recent years. I believe the Chiefs will win, but sooner or later, Alex Smith is going to turn back to Alex Smith, and Andy Reid is going to turn into, as an Eagles fan, Andy Reid will conserve you out of a game sooner or later. Ask Andrew Luck about that, because he definitely came back on the Chiefs in the playoffs a few years ago and beat them. So I believe they're a good team, and they're good enough to beat the Chargers.
Okay, so we're all on the Chiefs, sounds like. 2 more games to go. We got our Sunday night bout, the 2-0 Oakland Raiders, which Vegas, by the way, Vegas Insider, check them out. They're not affiliated with me at all, but I check them out sometimes, and Raiders are now the favorite to win the Super Bowl, or to go to the Super Bowl this year, which is pretty amazing. We've got the 2-0 Oakland Raiders taking on the 1-1 Washington Redskins in Washington. Derek Carr, absolutely amazing performance last week. I think Alex is back. Hang on. There we go. Derek Carr, absolutely tremendous performance last week. 230 yards. 3 touchdowns. The Jets were able to somewhat move the ball, but not much to be any kind of success. Raiders won by some strange score. What was that score anyway? Let me take a look real quick.
Against the tight.
They won by a lot.
Yes, they're putting up almost.
What was that final on that one? It was 45-20. 45-20 in that final last week. Just unbelievable. I think they're going to keep that up. The Raiders' offensive line, passing game, running game, everything, every facet of this game, the Raiders have it winning. Redskins lost a close one against the Rams last week. And honestly, do I trust right now? I like Kirk Cousins as a person, but do I trust him? If he's on a game-winning drive, which this may come down to, it may come down to this being a game-winning drive. Both teams are going to be passing the ball a lot. Can I trust Kirk Cousins not to throw the game away? No. I can't. I'm going Derek Carr and the Raiders to win this one away, coming up with a big Sunday night victory. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I got Derek Carr and the Raiders winning this one. They look really good this year, just as they did last year. The Redskins are kind of in flux. They're trying to figure out what kind of team they are, whether that's a non-playoff team that needs to start rebuilding or a team that's going to go 9-7, get the playoffs, and hopefully make a run at it. I think it's more the former for the Redskins. They didn't look really great. What I will say is Oakland's going to have to do a better job stopping the run, because the Redskins have shown a propensity at running the football. But yeah, I got the Raiders in this one.
You got the Raiders. All right, MJ, are you also on the Raiders?
Yes, I want to give a shout out to my dad, diehard Raider fan his whole life. He would not allow me to be called his son and pass on his last name if I picked the Redskins over the Raiders. I'm going Raiders. It's the Marshawn Lynch effect, man. Dude has 30 carries for 121 yards, averaging 4 yards a carry, and he's got his first touchdown last week, and he got hyphy on the field. When Marshawn Lynch goes,
so you saw him dancing on the sideline last week, huh?
Yes, I'm from the Bay Area, so I know what going hyphy is. And that dude went hyphy last week, and he got the crowd involved. Nobody ignites the crowd right now like Marshawn Lynch. And then Derek Carr is making it so easy for him. He hit Michael Crabtree for a 3-ball last week? 3 touchdowns from Michael Crabtree. I'm thinking he's no longer seeing himself as mediocre at best, and that's a shout out to
Richard Sherman. Yeah. Yeah.
But they are balling out there.
They are
taking so much pressure off their defense, and they got their rookie cornerback played for the first time last week. He did a good job against a weak Jets team. Kirk Cousins, I don't like that, all right? You are going to be who you are, and we dominated. The Eagles dominated Kirk Cousins in week 1. And I feel like he gets dominated by the Raiders and gets a clean sweep of my favorite teams. And Raiders win by a wide margin. And also, I think their running back is injured for the Redskins. So I think the rookie might be starting at running back.
You're talking about Kelly.
Samaje Perine.
Are you talking about Kelly?
Kelly.
Yeah.
Samaje Perine might start. So rookie running back going up against this Raiders team and Khalil Mack, I don't think it bodes well for the Redskins.
They can start whoever they want. That Raiders defense is too much.
And Jordan Reed's coming off of an injury as well.
Yep. So we're all on the Raiders.
Yep.
Final game of the week, Monday Night Football. The 1-1 Dallas Cowboys taking on also the 1-1 Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. This is going to be back-to-back road games for the Dallas Cowboys. And on the other flip of the coin, we got Arizona Cardinals playing their home opener. That's right. The first time playing at home is week 3. Cardinals offense thus far has not looked good. I thought it was pretty cool to see Bruce Arians pulling a Giants. What the Giants head coach did this week is at halftime also calling out his quarterback. You know, Palmer's just not playing well anymore. And I don't know what it is, why the reason for that is. But it is cool to see the coach being cognizant of how the team's doing and what their potential is and not hitting that potential and addressing that directly. That's pretty awesome. On the other side, Dallas, their key to victory is feeding Zeke Elliott. When he eats and he feasts, great things happen. Flipping on over to fantasy real quick. I don't mean to take too much time with this, but I actually lost my week 2 matchup because of Ezekiel Elliott. He nailed me a whole 6.2 points. Let's see, he got 8 rushes for 14 yards. I would have won had he played a little bit better. Ezekiel Elliott, you got to be able to eat. You got to feed the beast, right? Is that the saying? You got to feed the beast? If they feed the beast, the Cowboys win. I think they're going to feed the beast. Ezekiel Elliott's going to have a heck of a game against this Arizona Cardinals defense, which is mediocre at best. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on this one. The Cardinals have really struggled this year. I think the loss of David Johnson has been a huge. It's been more than what we thought it would be. Kerwin Williams did not step in, fill the void. Chris Johnson's doing his best work, but even then, it's still not the same.
Right.
So, Cowboys, I look for them to rebound this week. They had a tough matchup last week. They got behind early. They couldn't run the football. That's what they succeed with, is having a very balanced offensive attack. I don't care what you say. Dak Prescott is not an elite NFL quarterback at this point in time. He might be in the future, but not right now. He needs a solid run game. They weren't able to establish it. But however, this week, I think they come out, they establish the run. They're not going to fall behind. Carson Palmer hasn't been the same quarterback. I got the Cowboys winning this one. It'll be fun to watch, but I do have the Cowboys in this one.
You got the Cowboys. All right. And opinionated, bruh, being as an Eagles fan, what do you think?
All right. So, do I sound right?
You sound right.
Okay, cool. But I want to let you.
Oh, I think we lost them. Did we lose them? We may have lost him.
I am not hearing him.
I don't hear him anymore. I think he's gone. So we didn't unfortunately get the Sunday night pick for him, but and I promise you it wasn't me that cut him off. So it's not that I didn't like what he was saying. It's definitely some technical difficulties here. We have reached the point in our show though where we can start getting some call-ins. If you're part of my Discord,
they're giving.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Whoa!
All right.
They're giving up a lot of. What happened?
Your mic's going in and out, bro. We lost you for like a good 40 seconds. Just tell us who you think is going to win, Cowboys or Cardinals.
I'm going Cowboys.
You're going Cowboys. So we're all, well, I don't know. Purple Swordfish seemed a little bit wishy-washy on the Cowboys, but it seems like we're all on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're part of my Discord lobby, the link to that is down below as well as on SoundCloud if you're listening on SoundCloud. The link is below. I'm going to start pulling people in from the NTL show call-in list. If you have anything to say, any questions, comments, anything, you're welcome to join. First up, we have Aid Munchies. What's up, Aid Munchies?
Hello.
Is he? Hello?
Hi.
What's up, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. How about Denver last week shutting Zeke up? You know, I think they'll do the same with Shady McCoy. I think he'll have a low-scoring game, or a low yardage game.
I feel like we're talking about a different caliber of running back, though. We're talking about comparing Ezekiel Elliott and Shady McCoy.
Well, it's not necessarily that. It's Denver's front seven stopping the runner at the line of scrimmage. So I think they can stop Shady McCoy to have a low yardage game, under 100 yards.
Under 100 yards. What do you think about that, Alex?
I got to agree with the young man here. And the reason I say that is, with the receiving core of Buffalo being what it is, and with them playing from behind quite a bit this year, as a result, I just think you can game plan for Shady McCoy, contain him, and keep him to, 50, 60 yards. And then what are they going to do outside of it? I'm with Aid Munchies here. I think they can absolutely contain Shady McCoy. And it's not due to a lack of skill. It's because they don't have the personnel to allow for a solid run game.
Right. You got to have the blockers up front. Without them, nothing else is possible. Thanks for calling in, man.
And a solid pass game. But thanks for calling in, man.
Appreciate you. Next up, we have SK. I can't even pronounce your name. How do you say your name?
No. Oh, no.
What did he say?
Hung up.
Oh, okay. He left. He hung up. Let's get our next guy. Next up is Lizard. What's going on, Lizard?
All right, one sec.
Oh, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Hang on. I got an echo.
It's a night of technical difficulties for everyone, isn't it?
Everybody's got the technical difficulty bug today.
Okay, things are better now.
All right.
Good.
What's up, Lizard? Thanks for calling in. What's going on?
Nothing really, just NFL being NFL.
Okay. Anything else to contribute beyond that?
Well, yeah, y'all were talking about Ezekiel Elliott being the Cowboys. Everyone's thinking that he's the Cowboys.
He's not the Cowboys. I wouldn't even say he's the face of the franchise at this point, but he is a mainstay of that offense. If he doesn't succeed, the rest of the team doesn't succeed. Dak Prescott, we learned last year, he can't put all the load on his shoulders. Him by himself can't do it all, but him and Ezekiel Elliott, when both of those two guys thrive, the rest of the team thrives. That is all we are saying.
But from what I am seeing, other teams are figuring it out. They're figuring out the scheme and everything.
Well, we're just talking about 1 week here where Ezekiel Elliott didn't have a good game, where he looked like he was completely disinterested in the game. I hate try to give opinions based on one showing. I'm gonna need to see a little bit more out of this offense before I make that judgment. I just, however, do not hope they do Ezekiel Elliott like the Seattle Seahawks did Marshawn Lynch and trying to let Russell Wilson be the hero instead of feeding the beast. Feed your beast, man. Feed your beast.
I thought we were getting ready to say don't hand the ball off at the 2-yard line, but that's a whole different story.
On that note, Lizard, thank you for calling in, bro.
All right, bro. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next up we have actually Josh. What's up, Josh?
What's up?
How's it going, man?
I'm doing good.
What do you have to say?
How the Dolphins got that lucky win.
What about the lucky win?
What?
What about the Dolphins?
They got a lucky win. They had a somewhat comeback in the end, and then the Chargers missed that field goal.
They did. They did. Honestly, though, I kind of felt bad for the Dolphins having to miss their Week 1 game due to the hurricane. This was their Week 1 game in many respects, and I'm kind of glad that they got the win the way they did, especially since, it was against a team I don't particularly like in the Chargers. So, but that's good. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah. Just that the stream was great. Podcast.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Hey, Cody Parkey hit that game-winning field goal for the Dolphins. Philadelphia Eagle kicker. I just want to throw that out there.
He did. Thank you for calling in, Josh.
But isn't that it's kind of a testament to the Dolphins? They put themselves in a position to win the game. I don't know that I'd call it luck.
Well, I saw at the end of that game between play calling and just dumb decisions on both teams.
Right.
Both of them teams were purposely trying to lose that game. It was definitely.
I wouldn't say all that. I wouldn't say that both teams were purposely trying to lose, but I will say there were some questionable play calls by both sides. I will agree to that. And the luck does play a little bit. It's 90% talent, 10% luck, right? For the Dolphins, that's no more true. I mean, I agree. They got lucky a little bit, and that's all they needed. They won 19-17.
And the good thing, when you go up against Phillip Rivers and the Chargers, if you're not supposed to win, you're going to win. If you're supposed to win, you're probably so
exactly.
That's that.
We got a couple more people calling in. We got next up we have DDJ410. What's going on, DDJ? Oh, he also hung up. All right.
And he's go.
A little bit of stage fright there. All right, we're going to close it off with Press Tizzle. Press Tizzle, what's going on, man?
Not much. How y'all doing? I just want to get y'all's opinion on Thursday night games. Are they good for the NFL or is it bad for the NFL?
It's funny because me and Alex actually had a rather lengthy conversation about this. We both agree that it does the league more bad than good. Yes, you have more publicity. There's more eyeballs on TVs more times throughout the week than just the 1 day or the 2 days, Sunday and Monday. I don't think it's great for us, right? For the consumers, the viewers, it's great for us. Not great for the players. If you're playing a Sunday game, whether it's a Sunday night game or just any kind of Sunday game, your body is taking a beating. I don't know how many of you guys actually played real sports in your life. How many of you guys actually played football in your life? Your body takes a beating. And then you mean to tell me that you expect these guys to, 4 days later, go out and take another beating? It's just not fair. I don't think, if it was up to me, I would do away with Thursday night games completely, just because I care about the product of the NFL. I'd rather know that players are a little bit more safe. I know football is not the safest sport, but they are a little bit more safe in many regards if they have a full week's rest rather than just 4 days. Alex, I'm pretty sure you agree with most of what I just said.
Here's the thing. I think Thursday Night Football is good in little spurts, right? So originally it was rolled out as a very limited thing. It was not something that happened every week of the NFL season. And the players hate it. They've been very vocal about it. And the problem that I think we run into as fans is while it's nice to get those Thursday night games towards the beginning of the season, towards the end, the quality of play is noticeably different.
It is.
And not in a good way. I mean, it's bad. There's a lack of game planning. There's a lack of rest. There's a lack of practice time. Overall, I mean, if I'm running the NFL tomorrow, I do away with it, even though financially it's a lucrative thing. So I'm with you, Double R. I don't like it as a fan. It hurts at the end of the season.
But at the same time, like what I'm saying, exactly. All that aside, as a business thing, though, because the NFL, we got to remember, it is a business. Business-wise, it makes the world of difference, and it makes so much sense because they're affiliating themselves with the biggest names: Yahoo, Amazon, Google, like all these outlets. Aside from TV, all these third-party outlets are picking up these games and have the streaming ability to them. It makes sense why they do it as a business. So,
and let's not forget. Go ahead.
I'm going to go the other route. This Thursday night game to open the season was one of the best Thursday night games I've ever seen, and it showed the potential of Thursday night football. I think Thursday night football games are great. I'm going to throw a hashtag make football great again and tell you that if you schedule a Thursday night game, let it be only teams who have had a bye week the prior week. Do it that way. Because if you have a bye week the prior week and you come on Thursday night football, you've had a week plus to rest for that
makes
game
sense.
and game plan for that game. So
That
you
makes
got
sense.
practices, everything all towards that. Because if we can have Thursday night games like this Chiefs and Patriots opener, man, Thursday night football is going to carry me through the week until basketball season where I have something to watch every day. So that's my make football great again.
See, where that gets difficult, though, is the NFL has made a concerted effort to try and make primetime games, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night football, competitive games that people want to watch. And oftentimes those teams coming off a bye are not the same teams that you would pick from a competitive standpoint. Then you've also got to factor in things like divisional rivalries and all that. But I mean, just in general, it is a great financial move because there's a lot of people I know who actually upgrade their programming package with DirecTV or Dish or their cable provider just to get NFL Network to watch those games. So business standpoint, great move. From a player standpoint and a fan standpoint, I think after the first couple weeks, it's a bad one.
You can't tell me competitive teams when you put the Niners in Thursday night games.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different this week. I mean, who do we have to watch? We got the Rams and 49ers. Let's see, looking up ahead. They're not the best games. Green Bay versus Chicago, one-sided affair. Patriots and Bucks, okay, that's a good one. I mean, there's some good ones in there, but for the largely, they're not very good games.
I'm looking forward to Eagles-Panthers. Thank
you again for calling in, Press Tizzle. Shout out to you, by the way. Most recent channel sponsor. Appreciate that. That's going to do it for this Week 3 NFL Talk Live podcast. I am Reigning Ravens 1. My co-host is Alex, a.k.a. PurpleSwordfish. All of his info, his Twitter, his YouTube, everything, PurpleSwordfish, is down below. And also, you guys have been seeing in the top left corner, our guest host, Opinionated Bro. Tell us again what it is you do on your channel.
Hey, I do a little bit of everything, man. If there's something to talk about, I'm talking about it. I got my poetry up there. I did a poetry for my birthday on August 15th. I put up there. I do NBA 2K content. Most recently, I've been smashing that game out in Madden. I do a little bit of everything, man. So shoot over to my channel, The Opinionated Brother, spelled BRUTHA, and follow me on Twitter, OpinionatedMJ.
There you go.
Appreciate y'all letting me join the podcast, man.
Thank you for being here, and appreciate everyone who watched and will watch. The archive of this will be posted on YouTube and on SoundCloud. All that info is down below. Thank you again for watching. Have a great week. Happy football, everyone.
Out.
Have a good one. We're all out.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of NFL Talk. Thanks so so much for listening to this episode of NFL Talk Live with Reigning Ravens 1 and Alex, aka Purple Swordfish, streaming weekly on the YouTube channel Reigning Ravens 1 with all the audio archives on SoundCloud. Follow Reigning Ravens 1 on Twitter at Reigning Ravens 1 and follow Alex on Twitter at Swordfish Show. If you'd like to be part of the live call-in on the next episode, make sure to join the Discord server. This podcast is sponsored by Jerky XP. Save money on your order at the checkout by using the code RR1. We'll catch you next time on NFL Talk Live.